Before the video starts, I would like to say I apologize for the amount of lip smack you're going to hear in this video. I forgot to put my pop filter on, so enjoy. Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be going to talk about a fairly controversial player. I don't really like name dropping, but everyone's gonna know who I'm talking about. It's Deer, dude. If you don't like hearing about other people, then don't watch this video, because it's only doing if you're talking about the same person for like 20 minutes probably. I'll be sharing some interactions with this user that I had, and then if you don't know who Deer is, you haven't played Oaklands very long, obviously, because he's everywhere. Pretty much he is the richest person in the entire game from like various methods, like some controversial ones were him using certain people to grind stuff for him and buy stuff for him and whatnot, which may or may not be ethical. So making this video will probably put me on a list somewhere, either on Hofer's side or Dieter's side, but whatever, bro. And it probably won't give me a property sign, but at this point, this video's being made probably because he's just a weird guy, to put it nicely. So to start, I thought I'd share my first encounter with the guy. So the very first time I met Dieter was in a random public server when I seen his base. I was pretty much amazed since he had literally 100 or more of every single item, including like 4 of every single WMI, which is wild. I then try and buy some small gifts and whatnot from this user since, at the time I needed some items. I then somehow end up with his Discord so I can talk to him. And then, because he doesn't have chat on Xbox at the time, and then I pretty much talked to him like I would anyone and buy some items, obviously. And then, however, that isn't very interesting. So, like 10 days later, I run out of those items, so I go back to him to buy more, obviously. But it then gets a little more interesting as he becomes more pushy on what items I should buy, like saying, "You buy this now," or "You should buy this," or whatever, like more pushy. And then I start feeling like something's off, almost. So, but I buy them anyways, because I'm still poor, obviously, I need my items. And then, because what do I know, I'm just a noob at the time. Then he eventually starts messaging me daily, asking if I need some more items, to eventually just becomes my supplier. And then at that point, I start to realize that the guy is literally just using me to sell items for him at that point. Because pretty much I'm just buying an item for a cheap price from him and then just selling it instantly after. Which is kind of like a giant train. And he was encouraging it, too. This pretty much continues for about a week. And then before I stopped selling stuff because I was bored at the time, I kind of quit the game for a little bit. It was like 5 months. It was a big gap. Until eventually I buy a Kawaii Kitsune disc. This disc is right over here, actually. I don't have the disc itself. I only have a gramophone at the time because I just bought one of these. I'm poor now, but I have this item. But yeah, it looks like that. And then I pretty much asked him if he wanted to buy it because I bought it just to sell it instantly. Because I kept flipping stuff at the time, making a ton of money off of those. But then he decides, you know what, I'm going to try and get this item really cheap. So he tries tricking me into selling it to him for like $10 million. He pretty much just says, there was a massive dupe on those, trying to scare me into giving it to him for like 10 mil, which was not a good deal at the time. They are worth, at the time, like 30 mil. Right now, they're worth like 45. I obviously then see through what he's trying to do, so I just say whatever and ask for proof, which he gives me a screenshot of Hoover saying, "How do you know this?" Basically just asking Dieter for evidence of this happening. which Deer doesn't supply me. So yeah, that was like my first like strange tick off. The guy is probably not a good guy to talk to. Then things start getting a little more interesting. This is more recent, obviously, but those are pretty much the reasons that like led me to dislike the user. However, just because someone does something like this does not mean they deserve this much hate, unless repeated, which, although I do not condone hate towards anyone, but this user goes above and beyond with doing this. He constantly does this to every new or OG user to try and get cheap items. And pretty much if you don't know what this is called, it's just called sharking. Pretty much where you just buy an item for like, pretty much you just buy the item for very, very cheap off a player who does not know how much the item is worth, and then you keep it or sell it. And there's tons of evidence of him actually doing this a lot, even to one of the mods, of all people. He sharked I believe, gramophone off of one of the mods. I will not name the mod, as I have no clue if they want to share this story out. However, there isn't a rule against sharking something, but it's just unethical, because why would you want to like steal someone's item for cheap? So it obviously can be done. At some point, Dieter was actually banned in the TD server for a reason that is unknown to me, because I was not in the server at the time, which was in 2024. However, the devs decided to let him back in. Now, this is very, very recent. Because, I mean, they pretty much said, people change, which, based on this user, I would say no, he does not change very well. If you look at him, does not change. I recently tried selling my Edward statue for money. If you realize that's not here anymore, because I sold that and I bought this. So I pretty much wanted something else. So I then said, well, I then like set up a post about it. Then I see good old Daiben appear in my post with a price of 125 mil cash, which was a decent offer at the time. But I do not like the user, so I said I don't want him to buy, which he then asks for a reason why, which I provide. Once provided, he then leaves the post, but then another user pops up, known as Latinas. This user is very interesting, to say the least, but we'll continue. I had some history with him, actually. He pretty much called me a scalper when I bought a ton of, like, old gifts, but I don't really want to talk about that because it's kind of off topic. However, he then offers the same amount Dieter did, 125 mil cash. Then another person who I'm friends with, known as Board, some of you guys will know him since he's a big figure inside the Oaklands space, messaged me and then says Tina's buys for Dieter. Pretty much like how Jumper, Dieter's friend, bought him a neon UFO, I believe. But I then decided to come up with a plan to prove this, and Board tells me that Latinas is dirt poor, which I then prove by looking at his money before he even got the money. I then asked him how I got the money. He said, like, I sold a neon RC or whatever. But I basically then agreed to the deal as a joke so I can try and see his money. Which is where I see him with 105 mil cash, and I got this all on video, actually. So I'll put the link in the description if you want to watch that video. But after the whole ordeal, I pretty much just exposed Latinos for buying for someone. And then, like, after that, I pretty much found a video of, like, his money after the trade, and then it was just, like, nothing. He had, like, $2 million. And then, at that point, he says, the video's old, and he calls me stupid. I believe he called me sped or something like that. Like, something like, no, he plays slow. Which is not okay. And then he talks about, like, me bullying him or whatever, too, and I was like, okay, whatever, bro. But that did not get him muted or banned at all, which I had no clue how that happens. The mods literally muted one of my friends for talking about the reselling issue, which is really funny. I then take this up with Theater, and then he just says, no, I didn't give Latina's money, which we all know is a lie. To which I respond with some GIF I found, then a screenshot of him and Latinas in a server together, right after the trade. this pretty much fueled my dislike for the guy even more. A few weeks pass once again without a Theater encounter until I notice the guy blocked me. So I found this very, very funny, but I ignored it for obvious reasons for now. I then see someone I knew who made an outfit that was just like Dieter's old outfit. He also made a base that was like his old glass base that he used to have. He then asked me if I could make him a new one of Dieter's new base, which I then say, heck yeah, that's awesome. So then I basically built the base. It took me around 6 hours to make, which wasn't that long actually. I built it again for the second time and did it in less than an hour. I then gave it to the guy for $2 million cash at the transaction. It was a commission build, so I'd say it's worth it. And I take a photo to which Dieter notices this. And then I respond with, which again, it feels another argument with Dieter, with him saying, "You build my base, you can build so many other things." Which, I mean, yeah, I could, but I was paid to make that base, so I did. But then I tell him I'm going to sell it, which is not a nice thing to do, but, you know, whatever, bro. But there isn't a rule against making someone's base and selling it. Resellers. Since the devs didn't want to add that, I am perfectly in my right to do this, you know, because it's not a rule. Before we continue, though, I would like to show the base off real quick. Pretty much, it's on top of this base that I made recently, too. And there you go. If you're interested in buying this base, I will sell it to you for $500,000. But so yeah, it's a smelly thing to do. Not a nice thing to do, but whatever, bro. Because there isn't a rule to do it. So then Dieter then unblocks me, which I am happy about. And then I learn of some people who I did not know the names of, who are trying to steal Dieter's account. I seen that and thought to myself, that is a really, really shitty thing to do. So I then message him about it, which he responds with a message like he doesn't even care, which, I mean, like, okay, bro, whatever. So I then move on, and then 2 days later, I receive a message of him saying, "I know Silas, once can you stop bullying me?" Now listen, the guy is not from America or any other country that speaks English, so I'll give him a break on that. But other than that, with a forwarded message of Foofers unbanned, like him saying that I am banned Dieter dude from Discord server and whatnot. And then this once again fills another argument, but it can be summed up in a few words. Dieter pretty much puts all the blame of him being bullied by other users on me since I built his base. I then tell him I am not responsible for other people's actions and I can not be held accountable for what they do. I say this to him 4 times. And yet he still doesn't seem to get the idea. Then he responds with him saying that he reported me for bullying or harassment or whatever like he reported me for, which I never did because I built this base. I didn't say anything to him. All I did was make the guy's base and sold 1 copy to someone who asked me to make it. I can't be responsible for what that person does with the item or the build. So, and the crazy thing is, these interactions are all from me, just one user, myself. This guy talks to at least 10 people a day. Just imagine how much stuff he has done and things he has caused. Now, I'm not saying everything he did is bad, but like, there's a point where the bad outweighs the good, which Dieter has blown past now. Also, during the whole Edward ordeal, there was a rule stating you may not trade on behalf of users not in the server. You must own what you are trading, which Dieter broke. But then after we reported it, Hoofer then makes an update to the rule, or a thing that like mentions more about it, stating it was only intended for people who were banned on the server. What sense does that make? Which the guy also broke while he was banned in the server. Neon UFO. It almost seems like they are protecting this guy, which is very, very odd. To which someone brought up to Hoover, as a joke, Dieter is paying the devs. Hoover then says something along the lines of like, say that again or whatever, or I'll mute you or something. And then the user then again jokingly says it, to which he gets muted. Sure. Which, I mean, yes, it can be annoying, but like, chill out, bro. This pretty much just shows how scuffed almost all of their rules are. I mean, you've seen me rant about the entire reselling issue and before. But like, bro, I made 4 videos now just about the reselling issue and all the rules, my base being stolen at one point. And yeah. But I'll let you all decide your own opinion on that topic, as, you know, I'm just one person. Now, Dieter, if you're watching this video, I apologize for anything I may have caused. However, I would also like an apology from you for how you used me in the past and tried to trick me. Because those are actually very annoying. I have not really done anything to, like, deserve what you have done to me. I would like to squash all of this, though. This beef. I don't really like, you know, being put in between all this stuff. And I want to see you become a better person. Yes, this video will seem very, very dumb since this is a very, very small part of the game. Something like 5%. Right, Hoofer? Just like the builders, how that's 5% of the game, right? I know I definitely just assured my chances of getting a property sign in the game, but to be honest with you, the way the game is heading, it's not really something I want to be a part of or have my name attached to. And I'm not, like, you don't hear anyone say I'm proud to play Oaklands at this point. It just sounds cringy. Now the mods and devs can fix this issue by simply enforcing their rules, removing unnecessary ones, and improving faulty ones. I know I'm not the one to judge because I don't make rules myself. I am not a good person at that. And but some of them just don't really make any sense. This entire video can pretty much be summed up like it all stems from the rules, just the rules in general. Like, it's almost like a corrupt government, pretty much. Like, you have people who are somehow above the law, which doesn't make any sense how they can blow past some of these rules. But anyways, that's theater. I pretty much want I want you guys all to form your own opinion on the guy. I shouldn't be the one that dictates your opinion on the guy. I just have my own opinions. Maybe you had a great chat with the guy. I know I haven't, but that's for you to decide. Now, don't go messaging Dieter, hey messages or anything. This video is just meant to shine some light on the situation and my own interactions with the guy. But anyways, that's enough yap. That's pretty much it again. Once again, I have a Discord server in the description. Feel free to join. Maybe post your interactions with Dieter if you want. Feel free to comment what you think and any other ideas. Hope to see you in the video. Adios.
Hoofer, I already told you I surrender.